we're going to do another session of drawing with Jeff. And so hopefully you're able to find it. I know all my kids are now much busier with schoolwork and things like that. So I'm hoping that they're joining. And if you know what, that's the great thing, is if you can't catch it when we're doing it live, you can always do it later on. I don't know about you, but I know the last couple of days I've noticed that every time I've got a little piece of paper, I'm kind of doodling Spider-Man. So I really liked the Spider-Man that I saw. So you guys did a great job. And you know, that's the thing. Like once you get going, once you learn how to draw something, then change it up, right? Change it up and see if you can add something new and exciting to it. Okay. One of the things that people had asked for in the past is to have some drawings done of birds. So how do you draw birds? And I don't know about you, but I've been looking out in the backyard and the birds are coming back, and it makes me think that eventually spring's going to come, right? So that's going to make things a whole lot easier. So we're going to do birds, and we're also I think we'll have time after we do a little bit of a simple bird picture that maybe we can figure out how to draw a really simple owl too. So I'm just trying something different because I know last week, or not last week, but the other day, Tuesday, the sound didn't work. And so I'm going to change up this view, but we're also going to use the overhead view. Oh, and of course it's upside down. It was just fine, but I moved my phone and it switched it around. So we're going to have to change this up. Oh, well. Maybe I'll just move this over my shoulder. Maybe that will work. You can see I've got a really fancy YouTube setup, eh? All right. Let's turn this. And then we'll turn that. Well, like that. No, gotta go backwards. Anyways, I just have a picture here of a drawing I was doing for someone. Actually, I'm the faculty cartoonist for the college I teach at, and so this was going to be a logo for something we're doing. So it's an owl, and we're not going to draw that owl, but we are going to do an owl. So let's just get our paper ready, right? And we're going to do that. And in the way of warming up today, we're going to be doing lots of ovals, because birds are kind of like that, right? You don't see very many square. You don't see many square birds, right? But we're going to do lots of ovals. So maybe just warm up your wrist, getting some of those oval shapes on the page. We'll also do some triangles, right? We'll just do some things like that. All right, so just warm up your hand. Get your hand ready. All right, so we're ready to draw feathers. All right. Okay, so what we're going to do then is we're going to draw a couple of really simple birds. And I don't know. I don't know birds really well. So one of the things that that I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to draw a basic bird, and then you can kind of change it up and make it so that it's a fancier bird if that's what you want. I'm trying to make sure I get in there. Okay. There we go. That's sort of right. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is figure out how big you want to draw it, right? If you just want to draw a bird, then that's great. But remember the other day we learned how to draw trees. So if you're going to put a bird in a tree, then you can't make the bird bigger than a tree, right? So just figure out how big you're going to do it. But I'm going to draw the bird really big because that's what we're going to focus on right now. And so what you want to do is sort of take kind of like a circle and kind of squish it. In fact, if you ask me, and maybe it's because it's just about lunchtime, but it kind of looks a little bit like a taco, right? I think everybody likes tacos, right? So remember, this green line is nice and light. So just with your pencil, do it nice and lightly, right? So you're going to do that, and then you're going to draw kind of a circle there, okay? So it's kind of like an egg. Again, most drawing, right? It can look really, really complicated, but most of the time drawing is just about figuring out what the simple shapes are. So we've got the taco with an egg on top of it. And I told you it's lunchtime, right? And then does anybody have a pair of Nike shoes, right? That logo on the side, the swoosh. That's kind of what you want to do. Is just draw a nice, right? A nice long kind of a swoosh like that. Okay. And you can already start to see that that we're getting the bird, right? So here's the body, here's the wing, and here's the head. Okay. And then what we can do is we can draw a couple of boxes, like triangles kind of put on the side, and then another couple of lines like that. Right. And then we'll boxes like that. Remember, these lines are nice and light, right? Nice and light. And then right here, right here, and then we'll draw a triangle here, right? And here we can draw a circle. And so it's already starting to look a little bit like a bird, right? And then you can go outside. That's maybe what you could do is go look outside and see, what the different, birds are. Sometimes birds will have those feathers up at the top, and sometimes they don't. Figure out what it is. Sometimes they've got really long feathers at the back. Sometimes they're really short. But this is when we start to add in some of the detail, right? So some of the detail. And so, like lots of times there's colors that are in the wings, and that's how people can tell the difference between what it is. So just draw kind of a dotted line like that so that you've got it. Okay? And that's a pretty good bird, right? That's a pretty good bird. But we've drawn that nice and lightly. And so now what our job is to go over it and to really fill it out a bit. And remember that these lines, we draw them nice and light because we're not actually going to follow them exactly. They're just there to be a guide. And so if I look, right, I'll draw a beak. And they actually kind of are a little bit rounded, right? And then, it's there. And then it's a nice one of the things you can do is you can color that eye in and leave a little part that you don't color, and then it looks like the reflection of light off of it. That kind of makes it look nice. All right. And again, they have those nice wings and a nice big tail. Of course, you'll recognize that I'm doing a yellow-bellied sapsucker. That's, I think, what I'm drawing. Anyways. That's the thing that's so beautiful about birds is that all their lines are just kind of nice and soft. And so you can get that going. And so one of the things you'll notice if you look at birds really closely is that when they're sitting on a branch, their legs kind of go backwards, where if we were sitting, our knee would come forward. They kind of go backwards, and it's kind of nice that way, right? To get that detail, because then it makes it look like a real bird, right? It makes it a little bit more realistic. And then birds don't really wear boxes on their feet. So what we're going to do is just make it like the little, if you look at them, they have little bumpy parts, right? So kind of like a Cheeto or something, right? And then at the end, just put a little hook, and that's their claw, right? And if you want to get a little bit more detail, right, you could put another foot in there. Now remember, this leg is on the other side of the bird, so that means that we're not going to see the top of it. So we'll do this, right? And the same thing. And there's your bird that's kind of doing it. Right? Now, if you've drawn it like this, I think that's going to be a really good looking bird. But we can add a little bit more detail based on some of the things we've been talking about, right? So we can add in some depth by putting in some shadow and figuring out, where the light is going to hit and what that's going to do to the different parts of the bird, right? So if I look at that, right, I would have it like this, and now maybe I would go in and I would erase out all the little bits, right, so that you can kind of see, the way that bird looks. So let's pretend that the light is coming from this direction, right? So it's going to be coming down like this. Now it's the sun, so it's a nice big broad light. So it's not going to be very, very strong shadows, but there certainly are going to be shadows. And so what I want to do then is I want to add some color in, right? So I'm going to go. You can use the side of your pencil. Remember we talked about that? So maybe I should do. I don't have a. Oh, I do have a pencil near me. Right. So if I was doing this, remember how I showed you to hold it sideways so that you've got a longer part, right? You can just go like this and just, again, go lighter and build up on it, right? So you can do that. Right? And don't, right? Like make it so that this leg doesn't get the shadow as strong, right? And here we go. Now this wing is going to block some of the sun, so we'll put a little bit of shadow there too, right? And the same thing here. If we want to make that head look like it's there. So just really, really light, right? Really, really light. And same thing in the tail. Right? Now sometimes what I like to do, my desk is running away on me. One of the things I like to do is if I've got it like that, then I'll take my finger, right? And just my finger, and I'll give it a little lick, and then I'll just go over it, and it smudges, right? And then it makes the, then it makes that pencil kind of just blend in a little bit easier, right? Now this leg is going to be a little bit darker because it's behind even more shadow. So I would do that one a little bit darker, right? And maybe a little under the eye so that eye really pops out, right? All right. So there we've got that. Now, I mean, you can choose if you want to stay there. That's great. I think that's a really good looking bird. I think that would be impressive, to have on my fridge, right? But if I want to, I can add even more detail. And one of the ways I can add more detail is by putting some feathers in, right? And so feathers, you can just sort of make like just a hook like that, right? And you don't have to draw every feather, right? Some of the times it's nice to just make people think that they're seeing more detail than they really are, right? So there. And then I've got some feathers there, right? I've got some feathers there and put some dots down there. Right? There you go. That's the bird on my backyard. Okay? And then once you're done, remember, as an artiste, you want to make sure you sign your work. And so there we go there. Okay. Now again, you can choose. Do you want your bird to have the top? Do you want it to have a long feather, a long tail? Do you want to have, different colors, in the wings, or, sometimes you'll see a different color around the neck. That's all up to you. Go outside and look at some birds, right? And see what the birds look like, and then you can add some detail and make that bird really come to life. But I think that's pretty cool. This is a lime green crested whippoorwill. I don't know. Make up your own name. I'd like to hear what names you come up with your birds. Okay, so that's the first one. If you want to keep working on that, that's cool, But I had also said that I would do a quick one on how to draw an owl. And so I want to do that one too, because owls are kind of cool animals, right? Oh, I went the wrong way. Okay. Actually, right now, while I'm drawing outside of my office, I'm hearing some birds. So I think that's pretty cool. Okay. So again, we're going to draw kind of big so it's easier to see, right? But what I'm going to do is, it's going to be a pretty cartoony one. So it's not going to be realistic, right? But what you can do is actually kind of like, if you like ice cream cones, right? Just make a, oh, sorry, I was using my pencil. That doesn't really show up. I'm going to draw a 2-scoop ice cream cone, right? And then just at the top, remember, these are nice and light. And then at the top, draw a really wide triangle. And that's kind of what we've got going there. Okay, so there's that. And then on either side, so this is going to be the middle, right, where that goes, right? Kind of right in the middle, I'm going to draw another triangle, but this one's going to be more like that. And then I'm going to draw 2 circles. I'm going to take up most of that. Okay. Now, around that circle, lots of times we draw circles inside of circles, right? This one I want us to draw where, you can't really see because of the logo. I want you to draw it not perfectly centered, but draw one where this one is a little bit closer to this side, so that this side has lots of room and this side has a little room, okay? And when we see our owls, it'll make them look a little bit more like an owl. So there we go. Now we've got our 2 circles, and off to the side, we're going to draw that owl's wings, right? And they just kind of come around. Oh, yeah, 2 different sized wings. And again, that's why it's nice, because I did it nice and lightly. I can just erase that. Right? And then I'm going to draw the legs, right? Nice like that. And there's the feet. And then they usually have a different color on the inside of their chest than the outside. And now we've got the basics of the owl. And we can now go back in and we can go around. So remember, we're using these as guidelines, not as exact lines. So don't trace these lines, because this one actually kind of has a little bit of a swoop, right? So it has a little bit of a swoop. And here, you know what? I'm going to draw this. They're kind of, these ones aren't really, when I drew them, they weren't really too balanced, but sometimes it's hard when I'm looking around the camera. And instead of having a flat top, make a little C at the top of that. Right? And that kind of makes it look a little bit more owly. We'll go here, and you can kind of add a little bit of the jagged part at the end because it's the feathers. And again, you just kind of make those a little bit like that. There we go. And there's its chest. And there's the different color on the inside. Right? And I'm not even going to draw the circle all the way around. I'm just going to put some lines like this. And it's going to remind people that that's where the head is. But if you ever look at an owl, like they can turn their head all the way around. And so they have a kind of a cool looking neck. It's really kind of cool. Anyways, so let's go like this. And we can make little things that make you think you're seeing lots of feather, right? Maybe I'll draw it like that. Remember I said if you color it in and leave a little spot, then it kind of looks like there's light. It just makes it look a little bit more realistic. And there is a really quick owl, right? Again, you don't have to follow your lines exactly. Right? It's just sitting on the branch there, waiting for a nice little mouse to come along for a snack or whatever. And of course, they're out at night, right? So owls are night animals, right? They're nocturnal. And so what happens then is they are, there's not as strong a shadow because everything's kind of a shadow. So I'm going to do this though, just to kind of give it a little bit of, right? Just a little. And again, really all you've got to do for that shadow is just decide that you're going to color one side or the other, and then kind of do that. And of course, at nighttime, most of the light is coming from the moon, which is, it would be up over top of it. So then the shadows would be kind of, on the bottom parts of things. So there we go. Okay. There you go. There's a nice quick owl. And so I want to see the examples that you guys have of your birds and your owls. You can see in this one, when I did it, I put more detail in. So you can add all kinds of stuff to it. Just have fun with it, right? It's your drawing, so you can do what you want with it. But it's one of those things where if you take some time and think about the little shapes, and then think about adding things like the shading and making things look a little bit 3D, then all of a sudden you can have a pretty cool looking drawing. So anyways, that's all for today. One of the things that I'm going to turn this way. One of the things that I really would like is, first of all, to see your pictures. Oh, there's my thing. So show me your pictures, and also tell me tell me what you want to draw next time. So we'll do this again next Tuesday. And next Tuesday, we will, we'll do something different. So if there's a character you want to draw, or there's a type of scene you want to draw, or a thing you want to draw, just email, put it in the comments, whatever. And we'll try this again next time. All right. Thanks very much. Thanks for joining me.